My mom used to smile when she locked me in the punishment room. She said it was for reflection. It had no lights, no windows, just walls covered in scratches. Last month, my therapist asked me if I ever felt safe at home. I couldn't answer. I don't usually post stuff like this. Honestly, I didn't even know where to begin. But the other night my therapist asked me a question I still can't answer, and it hasn't left me alone since. She said, "Did you ever feel safe at home?" And I just sat there. Quiet. Like, what does that even mean? What does safe look like when you grow up thinking every house has a locked room under the stairs? So yeah, I'm 26 now. Male. Live with 2 roommates who think I'm a little weird but harmless. I work IT. Quiet job, quiet life. And I'm only typing this out because I need to make sure I'm not insane for still feeling like the walls are watching me when I try to sleep. My mom used to call it the reflection room. That's how she said it. Not punishment. Not discipline. Reflection. Said it with this soft voice like she was doing me a favor. Like it was love. And for years I believed her. But now I'm starting to remember things that don't line up. Things I brushed off. Like why the door locked from the outside. Why there were no lights. Why the carpet was ripped up and the walls were full of scratches, not from me. Not all of them. I don't know if the story has a point. Maybe I just need someone else to hear it. Or maybe I need to hear it out loud. Either way, here's what happened. I think I was around 6 the first time she sent me in. And back then, it didn't even feel scary. Just weird. Like something grown-ups did because they had rules you didn't understand yet. Like when they say you can't eat dinner until the guests leave, or you have to be quiet during the news. Arbitrary, but serious. That's how the room felt. She called it the reflection room. Said it with this fake soft voice, the kind that makes you feel like arguing would make it worse. I didn't even know what the word meant. I thought it had something to do with mirrors. Spoiler, it didn't. The door was under the stairs. One of those slanted crawlspace type deals. Painted the same beige as the wall, so it blended in. If you didn't know it was there, you'd miss it completely. But I knew. She made sure that. The handle was metal, always cold, always a little sticky like it hadn't been cleaned right. The lock was up top, way out of reach. Clicked shut like a seatbelt. Inside? No windows. One light bulb, but I swear it only worked once in my entire childhood. Carpet that felt like sandpaper and ended halfway down the room. After that it was just concrete. Cold, dusty, and damp in a way that settled into your bones. Like the air didn't move in there. The first time I got sent in, it was because I spilled milk. That's it. Knocked over my cup at lunch and she stood up so fast the chair slammed into the wall. She didn't yell. She just said reflect. And pointed. I remember walking down those creaky basement steps like I was going to the principal's office. I wasn't crying. Not yet. I didn't know I was supposed to. I sat down cross-legged on the carpet and waited. No clock. No hourglass. Just vibes. 10 minutes later, the door opened and she handed me a granola bar. Said, "Good job. You calm down." Smiled like she was proud. And just like that, we went back to normal. Or what I thought was normal. It happened again the next week. Then again. Soon it wasn't just for spilling things. It was for slamming doors. Or talking back. Or crying without a good reason. I started to learn how to shrink myself. How to talk in a way that wouldn't set her off. How to exist without being loud, or slow, or visible. And I got good at it. Too good. You learn weird coping tricks when you're a kid in a dark room with no sense of time. Like counting ceiling bumps. Or tapping your fingers in force. Or whispering stories to yourself just to hear another voice. I'd press my hand flat against the floor and pretend I was grounding myself like superheroes do in movies. I didn't know it was trauma. I thought I was being smart. The weird part? I still thought she loved me. I mean, she tucked me in every night. She made heart-shaped pancakes on my birthday. She told my teachers I was sensitive and needed extra understanding. Everyone thought she was the perfect mom. I thought she was the perfect mom. Who else makes pancakes with strawberries shaped like eyes? But the room was always there. Always waiting. And it wasn't just for me. Amanda, my cousin, came to stay with us the summer I turned 9. Her mom was in rehab or something. I didn't get the full story, and my mom was doing the right thing. That's how she phrased it. Said we had to be strong for family. Amanda was only a year older than me but felt decades cooler. She had a fake leather jacket, those gel pens with glitter ink, and cursed under her breath like it was no big deal. I was obsessed with her. She made everything feel like a joke. The first night she stayed, I told her about the room. Said it casually. Like, "Oh yeah, that's where you go if you mess up." And she laughed. Like, "What, like a dog crate?" And I laughed too, even though my stomach knotted up a little. She didn't laugh the next time. Because 3 days in, she got sent there. I don't even know what she did. Talked back? Didn't clean her plate? Doesn't matter. My mom told her to go reflect and Amanda said, "Excuse me." But the look in my mom's eyes? Amanda followed. I watched from the stairs as the door clicked shut behind her. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there counting shadows on my ceiling when I heard it. Not loud, just soft, desperate thumping. Then whispers. Then something sharp like fingernails dragging wood. And then crying. Not movie crying. Real crying. The kind that sounds like it's coming from the pit of someone's throat. In the morning, Amanda was at the table. Silent. Spoon in hand. Eyes rimmed red. She stirred her cereal for so long the flakes disintegrated. And when I tried to ask what happened, like really tried, even tugged on her sleeve, she just whispered, "Don't ever make her mad." And that was the end of it. She left early. Said she missed her mom, even though her mom was still in treatment. My mom acted like nothing happened. Gave me extra dessert that night. I didn't finish it. My stomach felt like static. That was the summer I stopped pretending the room was normal. I think the worst part wasn't the room itself. Not the dark, not the silence, not the weird cold that felt like it came from inside the walls. Not even the concrete floor that made your tailbone ache after an hour, or the way the door had no handle on the inside. It was the after. The way she acted afterward. Like it was no big deal. Like nothing happened. She'd be standing in the kitchen, stirring something on the stove, humming some random 80s song like she wasn't the same woman who'd just locked her kid under the stairs like a goblin. Then she'd glance at me, pale, shaking, still blinking from the light, and say something like, "See? Doesn't that feel better?" Better. Like it was a spa day. Like I just came back from a massage. And then she'd go back to watching TV or folding laundry. That was her whole routine. Punish, ignore, smile. It was like she had this setting in her brain labeled mother, and when she flipped it off, she just stopped seeing me. I didn't even know how to process it. When you're a kid, your brain does wild gymnastics to protect you from reality. I told myself the room was normal. That other kids had it too. Maybe their parents called it different stuff. Timeout chamber, or behavior corner, or something dumb like that. And I tried to make it sound okay when people asked. Like, "Oh yeah, my mom has this thing where I take quiet time under the stairs when I'm overwhelmed." Like I was the one who needed calming down. Like the punishment was for my benefit. So when we had this project in 5th grade, draw your house and write about your favorite place, I straight up drew the door. That chipped paint, those weird, scratchy wood patterns that looked almost like veins. And I wrote, "It's called the reflection room. My mom says it helps me become better. I go there when I need to reset." Like that was a good thing. I swear I still remember the look on Ms. Jackson's face when she read it. You know that expression adults do where their eyebrows go high but their mouth doesn't move? Yeah, that. Her eyes flicked back to the paper like she was making sure she didn't misread it. She asked to talk after class. Sat me down at one of those kidney-shaped desks with her knees practically at her chin because the chairs were tiny. And she said real soft, "Can I ask you something about what you wrote?" And I, being the literal little idiot I was, went full TED Talk. Told her how it worked. How I'd get sent there when I acted wrong or needed a reset. How it was dark because lights were distracting. How mom said quiet made the soul stronger. Ms. Jackson looked like she was gonna cry. And I just sat there, chipper as hell, thinking I was being a good student by explaining everything. I didn't realize what was happening until she brought in the counselor. Some lady with giant lenses and a weird perfume that smelled like Christmas and cigarettes. She had this big binder in her lap and asked stuff like, "Do you ever feel unsafe?" Or "What happens when you cry at home?" And I answered like a robot. "We don't cry in our house." Boom, that was it. They called my mom. I don't know what exactly she told them, probably some Oscar-worthy he's imaginative monologue, but whatever it was, they dropped it. Just let it go. But mom didn't. That night, I didn't even eat dinner. She just looked at me, that cold look, like I was the problem, and said, "You want to make me look like a monster? Fine. Let's see how monsters treat liars." Then the door shut. Clicked. And the thing is, she didn't yell. She didn't curse. She didn't say anything else. Just that one line. Calm as a priest reading a eulogy. I remember the first 10 minutes clearly. Just me standing there, trying to see anything at all. You blink so hard you start hallucinating colors. I remember touching the wall and feeling deep grooves. Like claw marks. I didn't know if they were mine. Or hers. Or someone else's. There was a corner where the paint had worn away and it looked like something had been dragged there, over and over. I started breathing weird, like my body was trying to hold itself smaller. Tighter. And the part that still makes my stomach flip? I pissed myself. Not even out of fear, like, not in a scream and cry way. Just, my body let go. Completely. I stood there, soaked, shaking, hating myself for making it worse. For giving her more ammo. And I didn't call out. Didn't scream. Didn't beg. Because something in me, some new, colder part, knew it wouldn't help. When she opened the door, must have been hours later, it felt like days, she looked at me like I wasn't even her kid. Just said, "Clean up. You smell like shame." Then turned and walked upstairs like she didn't just break me. I peeled off my clothes, tossed them in the laundry bin like it was my fault they existed. Washed off with cold water in the downstairs sink. Sat in my room wrapped in a towel for what felt like forever, listening to the sounds of the house go back to normal. TV. Phone calls. Ice in a glass. That was the last time I ever spoke in school for, like, a month. No joke. Went full NPC mode. No eye contact. Ate alone. I'd go to the nurse just to sit in a quiet room and pretend to have a stomach ache. Not because I wanted sympathy, I just didn't want to exist for a bit. And nobody noticed. Not teachers. Not friends. Not even my mom. Which I guess is when I really started to disappear. Things didn't go back to normal after that. They just went silent. But not a peaceful kind of silent. Not the kind where the house feels calm and safe and warm. No. It was like the walls were listening. Like even the air got nervous. I'd close a door and wait just a second to hear if she was gonna react. My entire life became this weird, twitchy dance of, is this the thing that'll set her off? And get this, she didn't even yell. That was the scariest part. No screaming, no slamming doors, no scenes. Just silence. That weaponized kind. Where she'd walk past you like you didn't exist. Or look straight through you like your presence was just noise. And when she did speak, it was in that voice. The soft one. The syrupy, dead inside voice that made everything sound worse. Why do you always ruin everything? You don't even try. You really think anyone's gonna love someone like you? And then back to humming. Back to chopping onions or vacuuming or scrolling through her phone like she didn't just shove something into your chest and twist it. So yeah, I started moving weird. Like physically. I'd sit on the edge of chairs. I'd avoid rooms I wasn't directly sent to. I stopped going to the kitchen unless I knew she wasn't in there. I didn't even turn on music anymore because I didn't want to miss the sound of footsteps behind me. That level of hypervigilance does something to a kid. It wires your brain wrong. At school, I turned into that kid. The one who never raised his hand, who always forgot his lunch, who sat alone at recess staring at ants in the cracks of the pavement because at least they had a system. Teachers would glance my way, maybe hesitate like they were gonna ask something, but then just wouldn't. Guess nobody wants to poke the weird kid. And I get it. I was weird. I'd flinch when someone tapped my shoulder. I'd zone out mid-conversation and forget people were talking to me. I remember once I laughed at the wrong part of a joke and this girl looked at me like I'd grown a second head. From then on I stopped laughing altogether. Safer that way. And then came the birthday. God, that birthday. She did this thing where she'd throw these events not out of love, but as proof. Proof she was a good mom. Proof I was fine. Proof for neighbors, for coworkers, for whoever she was trying to impress that week. So she made cupcakes, blew up some balloons, invited 3 kids from my class who clearly didn't want to be there. One brought a Nerf gun still in the packaging. The kind you grab last minute when your mom says you have a party in 20 minutes. They came, they ate, they played Mario Kart. I pretended to be a person. And then one of them, Jacob I think, went looking for the bathroom and opened the wrong door. The door. To the room. I heard it from the kitchen. The pause. That kind of stunned silence only a kid can produce when they see something that breaks their sense of what's normal. I was frozen mid-bite of a dry-ass cupcake and all I could think was he saw it. Not just the space, the feeling. That cold, airless kind of silence that lived in there. That room had a pulse. I bolted. Slammed the door shut. Told him it was storage. Told him it was haunted. Told him anything but the truth. He left early. Didn't touch his cupcake. Didn't look at me once. I helped clean up after. Not because I wanted to, just cause it felt like penance. Mom was sipping her wine, watching me on the couch like a proud director. She said something like, see? You're not hopeless. People still show up for you. Like the fact 3 kids came to eat free sugar meant I wasn't completely broken. That night I didn't go to sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, hoodie over my head, counting the little glow-in-the-dark stars I'd stuck there years ago when I still believed in wishing. One had peeled off. Just dangled by one corner like it was tired too. And in my head, this thought just looped, maybe if I vanished, she'd finally say something kind. Not out loud. Not a cry for help. Just a fact. A weird, sad, sticky truth that lived in my bones. I wrote more notes. Dozens. Stuff like you're not disgusting or even shadows are still here. I hid them everywhere, behind drawers, under baseboards, in old shoes. Like little horcruxes of sanity. Just in case I ever needed to remind myself I used to want to live. And no one noticed. Again, the confrontation didn't come like thunder. It wasn't big or cinematic or even loud. It came in slow. Like a leak. Like rot. It started with something small, the front door being unlocked when it shouldn't have been. I was home late that night. Took the long way back from school. Sat by the pond near the cemetery for maybe an hour, just drawing circles in the dirt with a stick like some 8-year-old in a coming-of-age movie. I wasn't thinking anything special. Just not wanting to be home. Which honestly was the most normal feeling I had back then. When I stepped into the hallway, it felt colder. Not temperature-wise, exactly, just that weird kind of cold when you know something's off. Like the air is holding its breath. And I saw it. The hallway light was off, but there was just enough from the street lamps outside to catch it, that door. The door. Slightly open. Just a few inches, but wide enough to feel like the house had a mouth again. And it was smiling. I should have walked away. Should have turned, closed my bedroom door, cranked up the music, pretended it wasn't there. But I didn't. I pushed the door open slow. No sound. Inside, on the concrete, sat a plastic storage bin. Translucent blue. I remember the way it caught the light like aquarium glass. I recognized it. It used to hold winter boots. But now it was filled with something else. Papers. My papers. Notes. Folded scraps I'd tucked behind my dresser, in the seams of old jackets, even under the lining of my school backpack. All of them. Dug up. Collected. Organized. They were bundled in little stacks, tied together with rubber bands like some weird homework project. And on top, written in huge black permanent marker, it just said, ungrateful. All caps. Underlined 3 times. The kind of handwriting you only see on angry post-it notes in shared kitchens. I didn't cry. Didn't scream. I just stood there. And my heart did this weird thing, like it skipped but also clenched at the same time. Because it wasn't just that she'd found them. It was that she read them. Read everything. My panic, my secret pleas to myself, my attempts at rewriting reality in little sentences like, you're okay, or not your fault, or one day this won't be normal. I picked up the box and walked into the kitchen. She was there chopping carrots, wearing one of her floral blouses, the kind she always saved for when she wanted to look like a good mom. She didn't turn, didn't even pause, just kept slicing. I stood in the doorway with the bin in my hands like it weighed 50 pounds and said, "You read them." She looked up, calm, set the knife down like she was on a cooking show, wiped her hands on a towel. No panic, no guilt, just stillness. Then she said, "I had to. You were hiding things." I asked, and I still don't know where the words came from. I asked, "Do you even know what you did to me?" She smiled. A little smile. The one that doesn't reach the eyes. The one that made every cell in my body want to vanish. Then she said, "Don't be dramatic. You always were sensitive." That's when I snapped. Not loud, not messy. Just done. Done in the way your body goes silent when the pain stops mattering. I said, "You broke me. Nothing else." She tilted her head. Said, "No. You broke yourself. I just helped you see it." That moment right there, that's what burned everything clean. I dropped the bin. Didn't slam it. Just let it fall. Turned around, went upstairs, grabbed my backpack. Stuffed whatever I could reach: a hoodie, charger, socks, my sketchbook, a sleeve of crackers. Didn't think about where I'd go. Just knew I had to go. She didn't follow me. Didn't yell. She just stood there, one hand on the knife, the other still holding that towel. Watching. Like I was the guest. Like she was waiting to see if I'd dare disobey. I walked out. Cold air slapped my face the second I hit the porch. I didn't even put on shoes. Just walked. CPS came later. Don't know if it was school or the friend whose couch I crashed on. Someone reported something. All I know is they showed up and the social worker had the bin in her hands. Said nothing. Just showed me a paper and asked if I recognized my writing. They didn't need to search hard. The room was still there. Unlocked. Waiting. The grooves in the wall. The smell. The lock on the outside. My mom didn't cry. Didn't resist. When they let her out, she looked at me like she pitied me. Said, "You'll miss me one day." And I didn't reply. Not then. Not ever. Leaving felt like pulling a splinter from somewhere you didn't even know was infected. Like, you're relieved, but it still hurts. And it keeps bleeding. At first, I stayed with my aunt. She's the kind of woman who always has tea on the stove, a half-finished crossword on the counter, and way too many blankets for one person. She didn't ask a million questions. Just gave me her spare key and pointed at the couch. "Mi casa, etc.," she said, then handed me a bowl of rice with soy sauce and a fried egg. It was the warmest thing I'd had in weeks, literally and metaphorically. That first night, I lay there listening to her breathe from the next room. Just soft, steady inhales. And I cried. Not loud, not dramatic. Just the kind of quiet crying that feels like your ribs are folding in on themselves. My chest physically hurt from how tightly I was holding it all in. In the mornings, she'd make oatmeal and talk about random stuff: her neighbor's dog, a weird recipe she saw on TikTok, some trashy novel she was reading. And that helped. More than I thought it would. Just normalcy. Nothing about healing or processing. Just oatmeal and gossip. Therapy started a few weeks later. Dr. Nguyen didn't look like any therapist I'd seen in movies. No cardigan, no soft voice. She wore combat boots and drank Diet Coke during sessions. And when I told her about the room, the scratches on the wall, the silence, she didn't blink. She said, "Okay, let's talk about what that did to you." She never asked why I didn't scream. Never implied I should have fought harder. Just listened. Sometimes that's all you need. For someone to witness your pain without flinching. I told her about the time I pissed myself in that room and didn't even cry. About the week I went completely mute at school and not a single teacher called home. About the way my mom used to sing while cooking like she hadn't just locked her child in a concrete box. That messed me up worse than the room itself. That split. Over time, things got manageable. I got a part-time job at this indie bookstore that smells like coffee and cedar. They let me take home damaged books for free. I've read more in the past 6 months than in the last 6 years combined. I also started writing. Nothing fancy, mostly journal stuff. But sometimes when the words won't stop buzzing in my chest, I post online. That's how this story ended up here. My mom did try to contact me once. A letter. 3 pages. Written like a damn memoir. Said she never meant to hurt me, that the room was part of a parenting method she believed in. Attached was a photo of us at a birthday party. I think I was 6. Smiling, frosting on my cheek, her hand gripping my shoulder a little too tight. I didn't respond. Just folded the letter into tiny squares and tossed it in the compost. It felt fitting. Let it rot. Let something useful grow from it. Yeah? I'm not some inspirational story. I still jump when I hear heavy footsteps. I still sleep with a light on in the hallway. I still flinch when people say you turned out fine. But I'm here. I'm breathing. I've got a plant on my windowsill that hasn't died yet and a playlist full of songs that make me feel like maybe, just maybe, I'm allowed to be happy someday. And that's enough. For now. I moved out exactly 3 weeks after my 18th birthday. No ceremony. No grand plan. Just this quiet, creeping decision that settled into my bones one night and didn't leave. I packed in silence. Didn't even use a suitcase, just stuffed my hoodie sleeves with socks, shoved boxers into a grocery bag, yanked chargers from the wall. My playlist was still going on my laptop and it kept skipping on this one song like even the damn Wi-Fi wanted me out. She was in the kitchen. Same place as always. Stirring coffee like it owed her something, tapping the spoon on the rim twice like she was keeping tempo with some invisible clock. She didn't ask where I was going. Didn't say stay. Didn't cry. Just looked up, saw me dragging a trash bag full of my life and said, "Don't forget your mail." Like that was it. Like I was going on a field trip, not evacuating my entire existence. I crashed at Leo's first. His couch was fake leather and made this gross fart noise every time I moved, but it felt more like home than anywhere else. I kept expecting her to text, to call, to do something, but nothing. Nada. Just this bottomless silence where a parent should have been. She never reached out. Ever. I think part of me thought maybe she'd come around eventually. That maybe she was waiting for the right moment to apologize. That maybe I was just being dramatic. But the truth is, and this took me years, literal years, to admit, she never planned to fix it. Because in her mind, there was nothing broken. That's the part that still messes with me. The gaslight that lingers. That little voice that says maybe it wasn't that bad. Even now. Even after therapy. Even after I walked into that tiny office and sat in a beanbag chair and whispered about a dark room with no light and claw marks in the walls. Like, what the hell kind of sentence is that? But I said it. I finally said it. Out loud. To another human. And you know what she said? That sounds like solitary confinement. And it hit me like a truck. Because yeah, it was. Just for kids. Anyway, I've been out for a while now. Got a place with actual windows. My own key. A bookshelf I built myself even though it's crooked. I burn candles that smell like citrus and keep a blanket on the couch that's way too soft to be that cheap. I still don't sleep great. I still flinch when a door clicks too hard. I still don't really know what normal is. But I laugh more. I eat when I'm hungry. I text friends at 2 a.m. and send them memes I know will make them roll their eyes. I'm alive. And that counts for something. And no, I don't talk to her. Haven't since I left. Sometimes I think about sending a letter. Sometimes I imagine bumping into her at the grocery store and saying something dramatic like, "You lost the right to know me." But most of the time, I just don't think about her at all. And maybe that's the win. Not forgiveness. Not revenge. Just space. Just distance. Just me breathing. In a room with light. Anyway, that's my little horror novella, I guess. If you made it this far, thanks for letting me unload. No moral. No twist ending. Just this. Be safe. Lock your doors. And if your mom ever says she built a room to help you reflect, run. Catch y'all in the comments. Maybe.